One of the highlights of the trailer for tonight's new episode of Sistas was Zach asking Aaron, hey, do you think we ought to pray? And Aaron's like, yeah, it's a good idea. And I remember in my trailer breakdown talking about how, to me, that's kind of a real highlight. You got the preacher man there, but Zach is the one to ask about prayer, which I feel is a little bit of a callback to episode 1, where Andy asked if, like, wait, Zach, you pray? Every now and then. And my thing is this, as a Christian and as someone who I feel like anybody who either currently or in the past has, followed the path of being a believer, he may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time, as the song says. But I'm going to be real. Look, I'm about to turn 34 in less than a month. I went to seminary. I got 2 master's degrees from the School of Divinity, as well as all 5 graduate certificates from that department at Liberty University. That isn't a flex, it's to make a point. Despite all that, growing up in the church, which I live directly next to, like you pull out of my driveway, not even 10 seconds down the road after you go around a little curve, boom, that's my home church right there. Despite all that, speaking in churches and all that stuff growing up, I still have my moments of doubt, my moments of weakness, my moments of my faith faltering. It's, heck, even right now, I'm dealing with some stuff and I'm just like, dang, God, come on now. Like, when are you going to come through? That kind of ordeal. That is real. And I wanted to make that point in relation to Zach, someone who doesn't really dabble in the faith all that much, but every now and then he does. So it's just to show you that someone who grew up in the, church and, to this day still believes and, actively put money into learning more about the Bible and this, that, and the third, it's moments of faith and moments of doubt. They go hand in hand. I think that's part of being human. But I was really concerned because Zach, look, don't get me wrong. Obviously, we're worried about Karen and what's going to happen to her and the babies. Well, baby at this point. But one of the big talking points leading up to this season is, oh my gosh, what is Zach going to do if he loses his baby? Is he going to take out his rage and whatnot? Will Fatima think it's too much? There are the rumors circulating that Fatima is allegedly supposed to move out of their house for a few episodes or something during the first half of the season. So I'm wondering what's going to happen with Zach asking Aaron to say a prayer. And in that moment, of all things, Zach is like, okay, I need to put my faith in God because, we got to pull through. Like, okay, one of the babies is a stillborn, but we can at least still pray that God helps the other baby and Karen make it through this ordeal. And, not to get too excited, but maybe the ultrasound was wrong and that, the other baby isn't necessarily a stillborn. Like maybe it can be resuscitated after the birth or whatever. But you have Zach and Aaron having this prayer. And I feel like in that moment, Aaron is going to find his own weaknesses and try to push through to be strong for both him and Zach in that time. Because, some about a prayer is a rejuvenation or, just a moment to kind of hit the reset button. And I just wonder if Zach, hey, Karen and the other baby make it, who we know will be named Faith, by the way. And I know some people are like mad, like, man, how in the world are they going to figure out what baby belongs to which father in the same episode? I'm like, the pacing depends on the writers, guys. And I wonder if Zach finding out in this episode his baby didn't make it. Do you think it's a possibility that he's going to just, lose faith in God, given the fact that, despite being the one to bring up prayer, despite, having that moment with Aaron, and despite, trying to do his best as a, future father, it still wasn't enough. And obviously, I remember during week 1, I said, man, wouldn't it be wild if, or week 1, episode 1, I said, wow, wouldn't it be wild if Zach didn't have that baby or the baby didn't make it? Wouldn't that be like God's way of saying, hey, it wasn't meant to be, cut ties, that kind of thing? Like, how will Zach look at it, Because the last thing anybody should say or anything that Zach wants to hear right now is like, maybe it's for the best. Like, no, don't say that. So I just wonder if it's one of those situations where Zach's faith will falter and how is he going to move on from this? So I think this could be interesting. I think if the writers, do it right, the first few episodes, we're really concerned about Karen. Ebony's acting is on point, as well as everybody in the cast, even down to the agitating doctors and nurses, really playing their roles to perfection. So I hope that this season, and gosh, as much as I want to gas it up, it's like, how many times have we been disappointed before? And it's like, I'm not being negative, I'm not being bitter, I'm being real. Anybody who's been on this channel long enough and has, followed the journey with these new writers, even pre-new writers room, we have the potential of such promising depth and development for these characters to go through actual arcs, only to be disappointed in the long run. But I know that DeVal has stated in interviews how growing up in the church, he was kind of scolded or, low key just talked down to for asking just mere questions in regards to God and Christianity, to the point where it's like he doesn't really attend church like that, but he, does believe, in God through his own, heart. So in that, mindset, I just wonder if that's going to play any sort of role in Zach's depression, because maybe he's going to be asking the question like, why would God do this? Why would God take my baby away? That kind of thing. And this could be really good. I hope that the quiet moments of Zach reflecting on losing a child will also match the intensity of the moments where, he's kicking over cards and screaming and stuff, because we know DeVal can throw a fit. We know Zach is capable of tearing some shit up, but I really want to know what they need to do. I don't know if they will go this far. Have a Dr. Reed session. Like, this is going to be big, because I know it's a Zatima thing and don't connect the shows and blah, 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 even though both shows make references to the other. I think if nothing else, Zach is definitely going to need some therapy. Well, yeah. Dr. Reed does exist in his universe, because he's mentioned his own therapy stuff a few times already. So I would really love if we got even just a nod to it. I would love to see it on screen. I mean, heck, why not? We've had the Danny, Kresha therapy moments. Why not have Zach do the same? But with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as we go into tonight's episode. How do you think Zach is going to deal with losing a daughter after placing faith in God that he would work things out? So, yeah, like and subscribe. And I love these unscripted kind of videos, just these kind of last minute, oops, let me get this out before the episode drops, because this idea just popped into my mind. But as always, I appreciate the support, and hopefully tonight's episode is another banger. Like I said, episode 1 was kind of meh, mainly brought down by the Tony, Rich and Danny and Sabrina scenes, but everything else pertaining to the hospital stuff, chef's kiss. All right, guys, that's all I have, and I'll see you during the live stream tonight.